song. Let's begin in song.
What we need is here. 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 What we need is here.
Friends, good morning and welcome. It is good to be with you on this rainy day. I'm Reverend David Schwartz, minister here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder. And let me begin by saying there is not a leak in the earth room. There's no water in that space. That's not why we're here. This week for our summer service, we are doing a lot of AV creativity, so thanks especially to these guys who are getting us live streamed. During the regular church year, when we have services at 9 and 11, more or less from September through the end of May, our 9 a.m. service is here in this room with many fewer people. We set up chairs for more than the usual 30 who attend, and a lot more folks showed up, which is wonderful. But this 9 a.m. service format, though in many ways the content is different, the sermon, the message is more or less the same, the shape of the service is really different. Our music is all a cappella singing that we learn by ear, and I invite you to sing out strong. If there is a sound coming out of your mouth, you are a singer. That is all the prerequisite you need, especially you who are scoffing at yourselves. Join in, add harmony, let the music move you if you are more than just a making sound from your mouth person. So welcome to this different service format. It's good to be together today. One of the things that I love about this congregation is our willingness to try different things. And there may be some folks this morning gathered together in this increasingly packed space who say, this is very nice, I will never do that again. That's okay. And there may be some people who say, oh, all right, I'm gonna check this out when we get back to September again. And that's okay too. We take a breath with me. And another. In this moment, at last we arrive. We arrive in this place and this house exactly as we are. Welcome and celebrated and beloved without needing to mask or change or first be good enough in order to deserve the care and compassion contained in these walls. We arrive in this moment exactly as we are, trying to be the people that we are, trying to be the people we're called into becoming. Welcome.
Hello. It's so exciting to see this room so full of people. My name is Rachel Alba. I'm the Director of Religious Education here. And before we start, I'm just going to say that I have allergic asthma to mold. So this particular weather is causing me to not be able to breathe as well as I usually breathe. So if I have to gasp, that's what's going on. I'm just dealing with that problem. But today, for our sort of wisdom story, I wanted to talk a little bit about monarch butterflies. So in religious education this month, we're talking, exactly, Marie, you dressed perfectly for the occasion. This month we're talking about delight, and how do we find delight? And the thing that I thought of was, I would delight in watching some caterpillars turn into butterflies. So we have some caterpillars this month that will turn into butterflies in the religious education classroom. But I wanted to talk about the magic and the delight of monarch butterflies. Does anyone know anything about monarch butterflies to start? Yes, your hand came up first, Jack. I think that's Jack, yeah.
They migrate in generations.
They migrate in generations. Somewhere in the Heidi Steve area.
They eat milkweed.
They eat milkweed when they're caterpillars. Ruby, Mary, what do you know?
It takes a long time until the caterpillars turn to butterflies in their cocoons.
So they turn from caterpillars into butterflies in cocoons, and it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, and cocoons they need to make. And cocoons are the things that they like go inside, and then when it grows to a butterfly, then the cocoon breaks, then it's a butterfly.
So they have to actually make the cocoon in order to develop from caterpillar to butterfly. What color are they? Monarch butterflies. Calum, do you know? Callum, sorry. What was that? A different question? What's your question? They all go together sometimes. So they migrate as a group rather than as an individual. Yeah.
They migrate all the way down to Mexico.
They go all the way down to Mexico. Rebecca? They're beautiful. Last one.
They are actually moths that evolved into daytime moths and are now butterflies.
Whoa! They're actually moths that evolved into daytime moths and are now butterflies. Did I get that right? Awesome. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about was how they get from Canada to Mexico and back. So if I gave any of us the opportunity to go from Canada to Mexico and figure out how to do that, we would all pull out our phones and we would use our GPS and our maps and we would figure it out. If I took away your phone and said, you've got to figure this out a different way, we might pull out that massive book we all still have in the back of our cars with the all of the pages of maps. Or we might go to AAA and do that, and maybe also get a compass, and we might figure it out that way. Monarch butterflies don't have those tools, so how do they figure it out? Well, on a sunny day, they figure it out because of the sun. They literally know if I'm flying south, in the morning the sun should be on my left, and in the evening the sun should be on my right, and around noon it should be right above me. But some days are like this, and we don't know where the sun is. I tried to find the strawberry moon last night, and it wasn't in the sky. How do they do it then? Any guesses? This is new research as of less than a decade ago, which is so cool when science finds things out. Magnetic fields! So, for those of you who don't know what a magnetic field is, the Earth spins around in a circle, and we have a molten core of metal, which I think is iron. Yes, awesome. Glad other people know more science. I'm I learned this in the past 3 days. And one pole is negative, one pole is positive. We've all experienced this when we've played with magnets. If you put two positive poles together or two negative poles together, they push each other away. You have to have a positive and negative together to go like this. And if I told any of us in this room to say, you're going to navigate from Canada to Mexico using the electromagnetic field of the planet, we would all say, I have no idea how to do that. But they have it in their bodies. They know how to figure it out. So they are following this amazing electromagnetic field that they can just feel in themselves, which is so cool. But that's not all. Because really that's like if I just handed all of us a compass and said, get from Canada to this one specific mountaintop in Mexico. Because they don't just go anywhere in Mexico. They go to very specific places. So we still don't know how they actually go to that same place. And here's the extra kicker. Most migratory species, like birds, right, Canadian geese, they fly in multiple generations. So at least one generation has already done this trip, so they know what's going on, and they sort of like teach the next generation. Not so with monarch butterflies. So you have the monarch butterflies that hatch and go from all of the wonderful things that Marie explained to us. They become butterflies in Canada. Then they fly using electromagnetic fields and sunshine and magic down to Mexico, to the same places that their ancestors were. They hang out there for about 8 months over what is our winter. And then they fly and get to about Texas or Oklahoma, where they mate and they have babies, and then they die about a month later. So these new babies have to get back to Canada, and they've never been there before. Somehow, magically, they end up with their butterfly cells making their way to Canada, where they have babies, and then they die about a month later. So then their babies now have to figure out how to go back to Mexico, to the same places where their grandparents hung out for 8 months, and they've never been there. It's like magic upon magic upon magic, and so delightful. And on the one hand, I want to think about like, oh, we all have ancestral wisdom within us, even these little tiny monarch butterflies that are actually moths. But on top of it, we also all have this amazing capacity to experience the magic of something that we cannot name or necessarily name that we feel it, but we feel it. And we've all felt that. You've all had moments in your life where you've said, I need to do this thing, or I need to be at this place. And there wasn't necessarily a particular thing logically that reasoned you there, but you felt a pull toward it. And isn't it delightful that we all have that within us? So with that, I will leave you back in the hands of David and Sonia. And for those of you who are coming to religious education this morning or are coming to the nursery, we're going to actually all hang out together this morning for our activity. Please follow me out.
As they head out, let's join in singing together. Love surrounds us, healing fills us. 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 Join me in a spirit of prayer and meditation. Find a comfortable way to sit so your body doesn't intrude too much on things. Comfortable way to breathe so that you're supported. Sometimes when this moment comes in a service for prayer and meditation, even I sort of sit here a beat and say to myself, wait, what am I supposed to be doing right now? What's involved in this? Sometimes I think of it like that butterfly sense, the way that in those little butterfly bodies, they can feel the tug of the magnetic field, that there's a quality of listening for it, in the same way you or I might listen for the very faint notes of some music. And I think of that in my sort of hard-nosed scientific way. I think of that sometimes in prayer and meditation, that there's a quality of listening within and beyond oneself, quality of listening for something that can only be felt. It's like a development of a kind of attention to that still small voice in us that says, who is the person that we're called into becoming? It's like listening as if we were in the chrysalis right now, trying to imagine and wonder what it will feel like on the other side. Sometimes that moment of quiet, of meditation, sometimes it's just patience. It's just breath and presence. Sometimes it's hoping and imagining. Sometimes in that quiet, what you're listening to is all the terrain and ground and path, all the milkweed that you've eaten that brought you to this moment, thinking on it with gratitude, with sorrow. In all of that, it's a listening, it's a kind of a quietness. The way that you might hear the rain on the roof or coming down the gutters. Waiting to see what emerges within you. We'll be together in silence for 7 breaths. Amen. Our commitment to connect bravely means that we're called to be glad with those who rejoice and to weep with those who mourn. So we set aside this time in our gathering to share with each other the joys and the sorrows shaping our lives. And I invite you, because we do it a little bit differently than at the 11 o'clock service, we do it a little bit differently at this format. If you feel moved to come forward and place a stone into the earth here in front to symbolize your cares, your joys, or your sorrows, and how they take their place in community, resting in something larger than any of us, you can place a stone in silence or say a few words aloud. And we'll all respond without trying to be in unison. We'll all respond to what you say. We'll say, "We are with you." Please come forward as you feel moved. I'll hand you the mic so that folks can hear you if you wish. And in that spirit of connection and invitation, I'll light our chalice this morning and invite you to come forward.
I feel such joy being here in this room with you this morning for this Wellspring service. I I just love it, and with the rain on the roof.
We're with you.
Joy, our oldest, turns 21 today, and I'm hoping he's all by himself in Bloomington, Indiana, so I'm hoping he can do something fun today in celebration of his big 21 birthday. That's Elliot.
My niece had a baby on Tuesday, and it's just so exciting to see her in her delight of being a mom. So.
We're with you.
So last week was my birthday week, and one of the highlights of it was doing the Boulder with my grandson. No running happened, I can assure you. But it was he moved back to Colorado 2 years ago, and so this was his first Boulder. So it was just fun to be with him and enjoy the beautiful day together.
There's a theme here. I just wanted to say it's been an amazing few days for me. My folks, John and Mary, who many of you know, who also, although they're card-carrying Lutherans, join pretty regularly online to this service. They are here because my mom turned 80 on the 19th. My dad turns 80 October 25th, and Whitney's father turns 80 July 7th. And we had a 80-80-80 celebration, and it's been fantastic.
I'll put a rock in for my stepsister who has lymphoma.
Well, joy for this rainy weather and this wonderful service. And concern is I have a paper I have to do for I'm doing on Tower of Babel for mythology, myths, symbols, and cultures. So I hope I do well.
This message comes through as a translator for the little one who wants us to share that 4.5 months ago we welcomed a little one, Odessa, and we now have 2 kids, and Tallulah's a big sister.
I'll place one stone at the beginning of Pride Month. LGBTQ rights and bodies, people, are under attack in this country in a way they haven't been for a while. Solidarity. And the last stone for all those joys and sorrows that we hold unspoken. We'll join in singing.
All is well, 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 all is well. All is well, all is well, all is well, all is
Begin with these words by the poet Carl Sandburg. Give me hunger, O you gods that sit and give the world its orders. Give me hunger and pain and want. Shut me out with shame and failure from your doors of gold and fame. Give me your shabbiest, weariest hunger. But leave me a little love, a voice to speak to me in the day end, a hand to touch me in the dark room, breaking the long loneliness. In the dusk of day shapes, blurring the sunset, one little wandering western star thrust out from the changing shores of shadow. Let me go to the window, watch there the day shapes of dusk, and wait, and know the coming of a little love. Here in this room right now, I will not ask you to raise your hands, are people who are absolutely convinced that life will not go on after death, and people absolutely convinced it will. Here in this room, again, I will not invite you to raise your hands in this moment, are people who have had the personal experience of a higher power that has saved their life, and people who are firmly convinced there is no higher power beyond us. And here's the miracle. We don't all kill each other. But, I mean, you'd think like fistfights would break out or something. They don't. They don't. Because we are not united as a community, as a congregation. We are not united by a shared set of facts that we all believe in exactly the same way. We're not united as one people because we have a shared statement of something absolutely identical going on in our heads. It's tempting, it's easy, it's more or less standard to make religion, ours or anyone else's, about creeds, about believing in the right way, thinking in the right way. There's this joke from the comedian Emo Phillips who says, once I saw this guy on a bridge about to jump, and I said, don't do it. And he said, nobody loves me. And I said, God loves you. Do you believe in God? And he said, yes. And I said, oh, okay, are you a Christian or a Jew? And he said, a Christian. And I said, me too. Are you Protestant or Catholic? I'm Protestant. He said, me too. Which franchise? And he said, Baptist. And I said, I'm a Baptist, Northern Baptist or Southern Baptist? He said, Northern Baptist. I said, me too. Northern Conservative Baptist or Northern Liberal Baptist? And he said, Northern Conservative Baptist. And I said, I am too. Northern Conservative Baptist, Great Lakes region, or Northern Conservative Baptist, Eastern region? He said, Northern Conservative Baptist, Great Lakes region. I said, me too, brother. Northern Conservative Baptist, Great Lakes region, Council of 1879, or Northern Conservative Baptist, Great Lakes region, Council of 1912. And he said, Northern Conservative Baptist, Great Lakes region, Council of 1912. And I said, die heretic. So here's what's going on in that. I'm going to deconstruct it and make that joke not funny ever anymore. So the assumption, the central assumption of that joke is that religion lives in your head. It takes for granted that the most important thing about what religion is what you believe, what you think is what matters. And that's what orthodoxy means. Orthodoxy means right belief. And we get into this trap, believing that religion's about orthodoxy. Most weeks back in their RE classes, one way or another, our kids say or sing to each other, we're the church of an open mind and helping hands and a loving heart. Not, we're a church of the following propositions that we all agree on exactly, Council of 1912. But a church of an open mind and helping hands and a loving heart, all of those things together. What we're trying to do in this house is to live a spiritual life with honesty and seriousness with every bit of our intellect and reason. And two, we're also coming into this house because we need and are trying to get down the elevator from head to heart. Years and years ago now, like all ministers in formation in our tradition, I spent a summer working as a hospital chaplain, and my boss was this feisty Irish nun, a former nurse, the youngest of 12 siblings. It was a Catholic hospital. She would always say, like on a daily basis, she would say, I won't try to do her accent, she would say, the thing you must do is go down the elevator. And she would give no further explanation of what that involved or meant. She would just smile, this jubilant smile, like she was in on the biggest joke in the world, and do this with her finger. I knew at the time that her advice was clearly ridiculous. I was still in grad school. I had spent most of my life at that point approaching people and relationships and jobs and school, which was more or less all I had done at that point, through the lens of mind. Life was a series of problems to be figured out and solved, and in fact, you would be graded on your solutions to those problems. Sister Marianne invited us, and I invite you too, to set down that lens, and in fact, to let go, just for a moment, to let go of those tools that had carried me, that carries so many of us through life. Going down the elevator means sometimes letting go of control, letting go of figuring things out, letting go of solving other people's problems for them, and showing up just in compassion and care to listen wholly, completely to each person's story without trying to fix or correct or save them, but just to be wholly present, soul answering to soul. This is one of our hymns. Going down the elevator means a terrifying invitation to let go of defenses, of intellectualization and distance, of irony and sarcasm, to let go of masks, to let go of what may be inside you, a deep feeling that you need to know the one right thing to do. And you are going to be lost and failing without that. And then to trust that heart, compassion, and connection to sustain you even in those most difficult places. It is a hard, hard discipline. It's not naive about the difficulty and complexity of the world, of life. It's not ignorant. It's not over-optimistic compassion. I don't think love is any of those things. We gaze steadily at hurt without turning away. That's the hard work of love. I don't think any of us arrive automatically knowing how to do that. I sure don't think I know how to do that perfectly. I wouldn't need to be telling you about this, except I need to hear it too. But that's the practice. That's part of what we do in that meditation and prayer, is listening for that pull. I think more than anything else, that magnetic pull that we try to cultivate, that we try to develop a sense of where is this? What is this? What am I being invited into in my life? Is answering the call from a difficult kind of love, an honest love. It's a muscle that we practice. In the same way we practice listening for the harmonies in the songs that we sing together. We practice listening for that invitation that love makes. Give me hunger and pain and want, says the poet. Shut me out from your doors of gold and fame, but leave me a little love, breaking the long loneliness. That's our work. Amen. Will you rise and body your spirit? Let's sing together. close this time of worship, I have a few invitations. By the door, right behind Tom back there, you'll find offering baskets. We share our plate with nonprofit groups in Boulder doing tangible work to make the world a better place. And the offering this week, this is the last of our Sundays that we share with Safe House Progressive Alliance for Nonviolence. And I invite you to give as generously as you're able as you go. But before you go, I invite you to stick around, stay, help put the chairs away. That is part of our 9 a.m. service. Chat, get a cup of coffee. Our summer book swap is going on the tables out there. Whether you brought a book or not, I invite you to take a book home with you because I would really like not to have to find a place for them later today. Each Sunday this summer, we've got different activities going on. If you haven't grabbed one yet, there's a 11 by 17 poster out there with what's happening each week. We have beach days and sing-alongs and all sorts of good stuff. Our worship ends and our service to the world and each other begins again. Go in peace and amen.